Hey YouTube family, Mr. Black Mamba 305 with you, and I'm here to do another video. I promise you guys are going to try to crank out the content, and here I am. If you guys haven't subscribed, go ahead and do so. If you like the content, go ahead and share it, hit the notification bell, hit the like button so I can get into the YouTube algorithm and get my videos out there if you don't mind. If you like the content that I put out, like I said, go ahead and subscribe. So let's get straight to it. Now, today we're going to talk about how to properly grip your firearm, your pistol. This is going to be a three-part series. First one I'm going to do is with pistol. Next one I'm going to do with rifles. Next one I'm going to do with shotguns. So today we're going to talk about the perfect grip, or not the perfect grip, but the fundamentals of holding your handgun. So today the gun that I'm going to be using is my Glock 19. You guys know that I love my leather holsters. This is my leather holster. The gun is cleared. Uh, you can see the follower there, orange follower, no magazine, been safety checked. We're just gonna go to the fundamentals. We're gonna make this video super quick. Hope you guys get something from it, and hope you guys leave with more understanding of the grip you have on the firearm than you did when you just started the channel. Again, if you haven't subscribed, go ahead and do so. Let's get into the video. All right, so a lot of people during the pandemic purchased a lot of firearms. A lot of people of which did not get a lot of training. It's safe to say that, because a lot of time when people get their concealed carry, or if they just purchase a firearm, a lot of them they don't really do the training. The people that are given the concealed classes nowadays, they don't really give you that the 2 4 hour days where you learn about your firearm, the do's and don'ts, the laws that govern concealed carry, or just own a firearm. So, you pretty much go home and they give you the certificate, you pay your money, and you're done. You go on YouTube, you watch a couple of videos, and hopefully you get what you should have gotten out of that concealed carry class. But I'm here to help you guys. Today I'm going to try to show you guys how to get not necessarily the proper grip, but how to do the fundamentals. And then you can modify the grip however it makes you shoot better. All right, so we're just gonna get right into it. So the first thing we're gonna do now is, like I said, the gun has been unloaded already. All right, so the gun has been safety checked. Can't see anything down the barrel. All right, see the follower, mag's empty. All right, so once you purchase your firearm, guys, all right, the gun is already set up in a way that tells you what to do. The beaver tail right here, that means this part of your hand, the webbing of your hand right here, fits in that beaver tail. All right. First and foremost, let's start from the bottom to the top. So the bottom I'm going to talk is my hand. I have not Sasquatch arm, but I have pretty long fingers. So I had to put on the biggest back strap on the Glock 19X is what I'm using. The Glock 19 Gen 5. So for me, you got to find the gun that's right for you. Number one, you might find a gun that you don't really mesh with, you don't have any chemistry with. That gun doesn't feel right when you hold it. It doesn't make you feel like, yo, I can shoot this thing. The bore axis is too high, the bore axis is too low, the gun is too heavy, the grip is too wide, the grip is too narrow. So you first and foremost have to find the gun that best fits you. Now, the first thing you want to do is the grip. Now, when you grip your gun, you have to make sure the webbing between your thumb and this finger is right up in here. And this is called riding the slide. You're going to ride, you want to get it. You see that? You look on it right there. There's no space. You can almost see like the flesh of my hand wants to come up on level with the beaver tail of the pistol. So that is the number one thing you want to do. Get a nice grip, a nice tight grip, not to where you're squeezing the polymer like you want to crush it into your hand like putty, but where it's a nice firm grip, because you don't want to tire out your forearm, especially if you have a long day of shooting. You just want to get a nice purchase on the firearm. That's what's called getting a nice purchase on the firearm. And that's what you want to ride up that beaver tail nice and high. And the reason why we do that is when the gun kicks at the front, your hand push it back in the back. And that's simply what that does. You can see that from the side. You can see that from this angle. So that's number one. Safety rule that you should learn in your concealed carry is always take your finger off the trigger until you're ready to shoot. Mind sharp, this gun is empty. We all know that already. But always keep your finger off the trigger until you are ready to fire that firearm. Till you see yourself in danger or you're in practice and you see your target, take your finger off the trigger, number one. So So my finger would be in that position initially when I grab my gun. Unless I'm in a certain situation where, listen, I got to shoot, my finger's in the trigger guard, just waiting to pull that trigger. So number one, that is what you have to do. You're going to get a nice grip. Not everybody's hand is going to fold right around the grip. And later on, as I explained in the next step, this little groove right here is for your other hand. All right? So we're going to go ahead, for argument's sake, and just put the magazine in. It's empty. All right? And that's what we're looking at right now. So the next step is your less dominant hand, which is, for me, I'm right-handed, so I grip it with my dominant hand. As you guys can see, then less dominant hand, you wanna kind of like, you pretty much want to use this hand. This is how you kind of want it to look. That's the shape you want to put into the second hand. So the first hand is a grip like this. The second hand is like this. This is what you're going to be looking at. I'm showing you guys from both angles. So when I straighten out the gun, this is what my hand look like it should be doing into that groove. So now, this is the groove. My first thing is to ride the slide nice and tight so I can mitigate that recoil from the front. And then I want to take my less dominant hand and fit it in that groove. So I would come under just like that. You see that? That's it right there. And you don't really want to put it on the slide. You want to rest it on the frame right down here. So now, when you look at the gun from this side, that is what you're seeing. Some people keep their thumb over. Some people keep their thumbs up. Whatever you choose to do, it's up to you. And that is what it looks like. So come around. You see what it looks like from the front? My dominant thumb, the thumb that's resting in the groove on the frame. And that's what it looks like. On this side, this is what these four fingers are doing. So my less dominant side, my four fingers are coming around to grip the gun and put it in a little cushion right there. And all of that is done just so you cup that gun nice and snug to mitigate the recoil that this explosion creates. Because you got to think about it, guys. When a gun is fired, when the primer is ignited and that round goes off, there's an explosion in this area. And that explosion is going to create that recoil. You want to use this right here, riding the back, to keep down the recoil. So recoil comes up, you're trying to put it back. And this is all in a split of a second. It's happening. And that's why you ride the slide so much. Some people, they don't really do it. Some people just like to hold the gun just enough, give it some space. Me personally, that's the fundamentals. That's why it is created like that. So you fit your thumb right up in there and ride it. So the index finger is here. Next finger is right on the cutout. That's what it looks like. Get your thumb up in there. So while one's pushing forward, this one's pushing up to kind of level it out. And this, you're pulling it towards you and pushing it and pushing out. So what these four fingers are doing are pulling it to you while this is stabilizing it. So what this thumb is doing is keeping it straight. So it's holding it to keep it straight. And so this is what your side picture should look like from the front. And you can do whatever you want with your dominant thumb, all right? Trigger finger in hand guard. Now, once you've done that, so the first thing we're gonna do is the grip. High grip, tight, but not like you wanna break the gun, just nice and snug, because you don't wanna tire out your forearm. The less dominant hand goes in this little grooves here with the thumb pointing forward on the slide. Your dominant thumb here, it can do whatever it wants. It can flip around, it can rest on the other thumb, or just flip around. I normally kind of keep it up a little bit like that, just depending on how I feel like shooting that day. So once that is achieved, what does my arm do? A lot of people, you will see them locking it out like this. what that does, I try not to do that. I find myself doing it sometime, but I try not to do it, is that it just puts more tension on my shoulders and my forearm, trying to bite down on that grip, fighting the gun so much. You don't need to do that, especially if you're doing like a class where you're shooting hundreds of rounds a day. That's unnecessary. All right. You just need to make sure there's a little fulcrum there. Don't lock it out like this, because then you put so much more tension on all part of your body. Just try to keep it a little bit of an angle, and I'm going to explain to you why. Now, I explained to you what's going to happen when you lock it out. You just put more tension on your hand and makes it a little bit more difficult for you to keep the gun up for a longer period of time. When you give it a slight, just a slight bend like this, what you do is allow your body to absorb some of that recoil. So a female that weighs 150 pounds can show less recoil than a guy that weighs 220 and is full of muscle. Because when you stiffen up your arm like that, listen, the gun, the recoil doesn't necessarily really have a lot to absorb. You know, when you fire that round, that recoil is coming back somewhere. And if you stop it by just being so rigid, it's going to recoil more in your hand like this. But if you allow a little bit of slack, just like this, then it gives your body is absorbing some of that and keeping the muzzle down. I know that might not make a lot of sense to you, but the physics about it is correct. So if you want to start from the beginning again, I want to end this video real quick. Just want to make a quick video to show you guys the fundamental of how to grip your gun and fire your first shot. So far, we've given a nice high grip right in the beaver tail. We leave that little space in between the gun. Fit our hand in there. Thumb, less dominant thumb on the frame, not the slide. Finger off the trigger till you're ready to shoot. These four hands from the less dominant, they're pulling towards you. At the same time, you just want to cup that gun in that little area. All right, so this is what it looks like from one side. It's what it looks like on the other side. Then, trigger pull. Now, trigger pull, a lot of people, now I'm going to turn the gun to the front. This is how a lot of people hold their gun. And then squeeze. All right? Now, take a second and tell me what the gun is doing. Some of you might be able to see that little nuance. Some of you may not. Now, what the gun is doing is twisting right. You have a tendency to kind of twist it to the left, wherever the finger is pointing. So what you guys want to do, now once you get your grip, you want to put the trigger right here, right in the center, right there, and not all the way in here. So right here and not here. And then once you get your grip, now look, this is my finger right here, and I'm going to put that finger just right in there. So you see, so if I was to put it right on the fulcrum right there, you see more of my finger, but no, you want to bring it there and then just squeeze back. You see that? Let's try that one more time. So now I'm pulling the trigger towards me. See that? Steady. One more time. I'm pulling the trigger, reset, pulling the trigger towards me. You see, there's no shift to the left or the right. So that is how you pull your trigger. Now, in terms of breathing, there's a whole lot to do when it comes to breathing. I'm going to do another video on that. But that's pretty much it for today, guys. That's the fundamentals of holding your firearm. So if it's your first time purchasing a firearm and you come across this video, go ahead, give it a like, subscribe, and share. This one is just to give you a little bit of fundamentals. Now, once you get that grip down and you start doing the fundamentals, a lot of people are going to feel comfortable holding it one way over another. Then, yes, you can tweak it, the fundamentals, just a little bit to get you to shoot better. Because a lot of people, you see them shoot, they hold that gun like crap, but yet still they're on point because something works for them. So once you learn the fundamentals, then you can go ahead and find a certain groove, a certain way how you hold the gun. Maybe you have to hold the gun really tight. Maybe you don't have to hold it as tight. Maybe your thumb is over your dominant thumb like this. But it's whatever suits you. But you should know the fundamentals. And if you start with that, then you have something, a canvas to work on. So that is pretty much it. Mr. Black Mamba 305 signing out. Again, if you guys like the video, love the content, please share, subscribe to the channel, share the video, like, whatever it takes to get the video out, and I would greatly appreciate it. Love you, YouTube family. Mr. Black Mamba signing out.